Okay, so I'm back. So this is my 16-inch upper, okay? And what's new on my upper is I made a couple of changes here. So I was able to add the QD mount to the front here because I just changed that Picatinny rail there. Of course, I got my bipod. Now this is a good bipod. It's a little heavy, but it's a good bipod. This bipod, I took it off my Ruger Charger. When I purchased the Ruger Charger, it came with this already. So I said, you know, I'm not going to use it on the Ruger Charger. It's only got an 8-inch barrel, and I didn't need it for that. So, and the light that I had on the 10.5-inch, I took it off, and I put it on here. And this also has a temporary light and as well as a permanent light. So now this light was a little bit large when I bought them. They were supposed to be 1500 lumens and, you know, just about everything else like that. I did not expect it to be a complete dinosaur as big as it is, but it's not that heavy. It's rechargeable. And I said, hell with it. You know, I mean, it's only there for play. If I really need it, I have it. And then on the bottom here, I was able to get another QD mount on this particular, came on that Picatinny rail that I just installed. It's small, but again, these are heavy and they're steel, but I guess they're really good quality. Although when I put it on a little while ago, it completely came off, so I didn't put it on right the first time. So dropped the whole unit here. So anyway, put that QD mount back, and then I have an adjustable grip. Now, as you can see here, I can go to the 45 degree, okay, which is nice. And here I have the button right there for the light. So I don't know if you can see this, but let's go here. All right, and I can turn it on permanent or that. All right, so it has a really nice grip when I hold it here, okay? And I can also go full vertical, okay, and give myself good stance. But you know what? Just like this, it's actually fine, and so is this. So both ways are really good for me. I can actually have good control over it. So I didn't put any iron sights on it. Tell you why. So let's get these grips down. Actually, I'm going to leave them up so I can unclothe my other item here. So let me take a piece of my sock off here. So now, this is the Sig Sauer Romeo 5, okay? And I originally had a problem with it when I first installed it. And the problem was that when I use the red dot as it is, I think you should be able to see it there. This thing turns on automatically, the Romeo 5, there it is. And it shuts off automatically. So then it has nice, about 5 brightness settings. I have it zeroed in nice. I can hit 100 yards with just this, or I can use it with the magnifier. I can hit 100 yards with the magnifier, except I hit a little bit better with the magnifier when I hit the 100 yards. This is the Fiat. Now, the Fiat has 2 models. I think it's a 56 and a 57, or 36 and a 37. I can't remember what the numbers are. But anyway, one of them is a 1.5 to 4, and then this one is a 1.5 to 5. So I get a little bit more distance out of it. And I was having a little bit of trouble setting the magnifier, and every time I put it on, I would get double vision. And what I mean by double vision is I was basically getting 2 red dots, okay? So, and what I did originally was I had it almost touching. So, and of course, watching YouTube, I'm watching a few different videos on this, and some people say, well, you have astigmatism and blah, 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 and then some other guy says, you know, you're supposed to have it a little further away because they work with light. The better the light that enters the front, the better you're going to be able to see through it, and the clearer you're going to be able to see. So And then somebody else suggested that you would get a little bit better vision and less blur or less haloing by just putting a little further back. So I started watching all the videos, and some guys had it, most of the people had it where these two pieces were pretty much touching each other. And that's how I originally had it, because I was watching how everybody else did it. And only a couple of guys had it where you had some space in between. One guy had a lot of space in between. But I said, you know what? Let me space it out a bit. So I have maybe 3/4 of an inch in between the actual red dot, the 6 hour, and my magnifier, and the double vision is gone. So that was the problem. By the way, the reticle is excellent on this. You have a real infinite setting on this. So I can actually sit back from here, and I guess I'm at about a good 4 or 5 inches away, and I get a full picture. Okay, even when I zoom in, I get a full picture. So the reticle is excellent on this. Will I buy another Fiat? Absolutely not. I didn't care for all the adjustments. I should have gone with the Romeo and Juliet, but I didn't want to spend the money. I wanted to see if I liked it first, because it was between this and an LPO, or LPVO, excuse me. So, but for what I use it for, at 100 yards, my groupings were excellent. And I'm telling you, I had at 27 yards, which is what I sighted it in, my grouping was about 1 inch. I don't know, I think they call that a MOA. And then I put it at 50 yards, and again, it was still at 1 inch. And then at 100 yards, I don't know what the groupings were, because all I did was put some of those targets on there that change colors. So it wasn't bad. I mean, if I have to shoot from here to the end of the street, it's about a little over 100 yards. I don't think I would have a problem hitting anything that I wanted to hit where I wanted to hit it. So, and basically I use this more for sport than anything else. I don't think we're going to go into any kind of a war here in Puerto Rico, or have any issues where we're going to go through heavy famine or anything like that. There's a few really, really wealthy neighborhoods that if the shit hit the fan, it would be hitting there first before it hit here. So I think that it's, what we have and what we need. So before I sign off, I'll let you guys know that, I'm kind of watching all the crap that's going down in the U.S. now. I'm an expat. I'm born and raised there. My parents are from here, but all of my parents moved to the United States. So my mom, my dad, everybody moved to the States. And basically, what I see up there, is it's a lot of craziness going on. A lot of talk about, Jesus, Dems are going to take guns away and everything else. And at the same time, you have school shootings and everything else, and nobody wants to do anything about it. So everybody's afraid to touch the subject. Well, you know what? It took me 10 years to be able to get a license to carry here in Puerto Rico. 10 years. And that's because they finally changed the law. Somebody got really strong on it and said, that we are entitled to our Second Amendment rights, which we are. Federal law supersedes state law. And that's the bottom line. But when they finally decided they were going to do it, it was pretty much the only people that had the right to carry guns are the wealthy people, because it was literally well over $1,000 to get a license. But then at the same time, when I go to the range and I see absolute morons shooting, because now almost everybody can get a license between $200 and $300. You got yourself a license, good for 5 years. But it's again, it's something that it's made for profit, of course. The state is racking in the dough with these licenses. And I see that people are still not prepared. One of the nice things I did see is one of the teachers did not give somebody a license because the person couldn't even rack the magazine, the gun, just to put it, to chamber a round into it. And, the guy says, listen, he was like 70 years old or 80 years old or 90 years old, who the hell knows, but he wasn't able to handle a gun. I go to the gun range and I see people getting their licenses, and to get a license, you cannot be a criminal here. You can't have even a ticket, not even a parking ticket. You owe taxes, you cannot get a license. You owe child support, you cannot get a license. It's really, really, how can I say, strict, but at the same time, it's kind of good in a way because it takes care of business, okay? You're an asshole, you're not going to get a license. Bottom line, it's just the way it is, okay? So if you get caught with a bullet, and I'm going to let you know, and you do not have a license, and you get caught with one bullet, it's 2 years in jail. If it's a high caliber bullet, like a 223 or something like that, probably 10 years in jail. So this is how strict the laws are. And it's the only way you're going to keep the criminals from buying bullets and buying arms and buying everything else, even though they're flying in from the States. They're coming in through the mail and everything else, and you cannot mail anything here. I can buy guns at Bud's Guns. It does come to my FFL here. So there are a few companies in like Diamondback sold me this anyway. So there's a few companies here that can get it, and there's a few companies that can't. A few people that can't, and basically it's if you got a record you can't get it. But they say, hey, listen, criminals are pretty much armed to the T, and we can't arm ourselves. We can't even defend yourself at home. You can't have anything at home. And finally, they said, yes, we have the right to bear arms. We have the right to defend our family. Before it was a privilege to defend your family. That's how the rich managed to word it. And the word privilege basically means if you had the money to defend your family, you can. And if you don't, you're out of luck. So anyway, make a long story short, got my license. This is why I'm posting so many, as a prepper, I'm posting so many videos when it comes to firearms, because I've been, I've had a hard on for like 10 years already. So I finally got my stuff. And then I've been buying and selling until I can get myself familiar again with the arms. It's my first AR, by the way. I've never had one before. So, but in Puerto Rico, some of the laws that they have are really good because they're preventing morons from owning guns. And you can give the people a license. They pass this bullshit test, just like in the States. It's a bullshit test. Over here, you got to do it every 5 years. You have to retake a test. Okay, you have to go back to the shooting range, and you got to pay the guy $100 so he can certify you, and then you get your license again renewed. But anyway, there's a good reason for that, and that's because every time I go to the shooting range, I'm usually helping people that are pointing guns at me and everybody else. Because they don't even know how to handle a gun. Now, if I go to the shooting range and I see that there's 10 people there, I usually walk out because it is too dangerous. Too many morons. I had a guy shooting an AK that was inside an indoor shooting range that basically shook the entire building every time he shot. He had no idea what he was doing. This guy was really dangerous. Then on top of that, he was shooting his handgun, the same guy, and he literally put his thumb, I guess he was holding it like this, that if he would have shot, it would have taken his thumb off. The slide would have taken the thumb off. And I had to tell the guy at the range to stop the guy right away, because if they didn't, he would have had thumb all over the shooting range, and they would have closed it down. I didn't even get a chance to shoot. But this is how many people are there. There's one guy that I helped out at the range, which I posted a video on, which was a really nice guy. And he, at least he had the smarts to ask for someone to guide him. And I'm not a professional, but I've been shooting since I was in my 20s, and I'm in my 60s now. And I've gone shooting a bunch of times. I had a nice gun collection when I was at the States. So, should someone have the right to just go in and buy a gun and carry it without any knowledge of even how to rack a slide or what bullet to put in it? Absolutely not, man. There has to be some kind of a management system. Should you drive a car without a license just because daddy taught you how to drive at 10 years old? I don't think so. I think you need to get a little bit more knowledge of the rules. Sometimes the rules are stupid. Yesterday I got 2 tickets. pulled over by the cops, get 2 tickets. I'm on my scooter, and I have my sneakers, my shorts on, and my glasses and my helmet, and everything's fine. I know I need a helmet here in Puerto Rico. I get all these tickets. Basically, I almost got 4 tickets. The guy was pretty cool. He let me get away with only 2 tickets. Because you need to have boots on, long pants, gloves on, which I didn't have any of those. And I had to have a certificate for driving a motorcycle in Puerto Rico, considered a motorcycle in Puerto Rico. And if you're at nighttime, you have to have reflective clothing on. A reflector has to be on you. So it's at nighttime. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm used to riding with no helmet. So, but, those are the rules. That's what you got to put up with. So, and basically, like, each state has rules, but they have their reason for it. What I pay for insurance in Puerto Rico is not even 1/10 of what I would pay for it in the United States, because the roads are covered with insurance. In other words, everyone is insured. So I pay $100 for my registration once a year and $100 for insurance on my vehicles. Each vehicle pays $100. So the way that it's set up is that money goes to a fund. That fund goes to cover the roads. If you get onto an accident, the person who hits you, that insurance for that person covers your compensation, I guess it is. And then the liability is covered by the insurance on the road. So that covers your medical bills and everything else. And if you need money, you can sue the road insurance, but only to a limited amount. You can't really sue for too much money. So even if you lose your legs, you're done. You're limited to what, you get a wheelchair and a few $1,000s for compensation. So that's the way it works here. Unless the other person, of course, is in a Lamborghini and he's got good insurance, and then you can sue the shit out of him, Anyway. So I know this is a little lengthy, but Island Prepper, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you got any suggestions for me, I will be getting a different brace for this, by the way, just in case. I got a regular brace for a pistol brace for it. So if I walk in and I see cops at the shooting range, I'll just switch it to a pistol brace. Anyway, Island Prepper, thanks for watching. Tell me what you think. And in a couple of weeks, I'll be doing a video on the new sights that I'm going to have for this. It's really nice. I think the company's called EOTech. And we'll see how it is. Okay? Anyway, Island Prepper, over and out.